So first of all, apologies. I don't know what's going on with my hair today, so ignore that. It's like it's on its own. It's on its own timeline at the minute. Anyway, so I wanted to do a hopefully fairly short video following the Arsenal Manchester City game. And I know I was obviously doing the videos before, after each match, and sort of stopped doing that. But this one's particular because I have a few things to discuss. It was Manchester City 2, Arsenal 1 at the Emirates. So I guess it's Arsenal 1, Manchester City 2, technically. And my overarching feeling is I'm very proud of the team, and I think I probably expected that sort of scoreline before, or maybe like 3-1, or even if you told me it was going to be down to 10 men, I would have said maybe I'd have taken 4-1 at that point. But there's obviously been, I know it's at the Emirates rather than at Manchester City, but the performance was by far increased, and we're starting to look a bit more competent now. Obviously, there are still aspects that are quite fragile, for sure, particularly in the back line with crosses and stuff. Although, in fairness, we did quite well with that today. I was quite impressed with, particularly Ben White in there with his headers, clearing them out of the box, and obviously and Gabriel when he was on as well. And unfortunately, the second goal went in when Holding was on, because I didn't necessarily think Holding did too much wrong, to be fair. Thought his yellow card was a bit unlucky. So that's just the way it goes, of course. And when you're down to 10 men, it's always going to be difficult. But yeah, I thought when it was 11 versus 11 in the first half up until Saka's goal, I thought it was quite even. I thought Manchester City looked a lot more stable on the ball than Arsenal, and then we sort of growed into it a little bit, which is really nice to see. And Saka's goal was really well worked in the end. I'd say a little bit fortuitous. I think if Man City had a bit more time to line up better across the back line, it would probably not have happened if Ake had moved over or if he was following Saka. But he was sort of drawn into Lacazette, and over on Martinelli's side, they left a gap open. I don't know who was playing on that side. Cancelo and Mahrez. Yeah, so one of those two was missing at that point. And it was really nice, well-worked goal. It wasn't right in the corner or anything, but it caught Edison off guard. I can't remember if that was before or after the penalty incident. But yeah, the penalty incident with Odegaard, it was really frustrating for that not to be given. I thought it was a little bit soft in a way, because Odegaard's going away from the goal and he's got a lot to do. But if that's anywhere else on the pitch, it's a foul, obviously. Went through the player to get the ball. So, yeah, the fact that wasn't looked at, I think, was strange considering what happened later on. Arsenal got through to half-time. Thought very much on top by the end of it. And I expected Manchester City to come out in the second half really strong, because they were looking a bit off it towards the end of the first half. A couple of chances very early on, though, for Man City, it must be said. And then the second half started, which I thought Arsenal were doing pretty well, to be fair. Bernardo Silva had his hands up in the air a lot today with whenever Aaron Ramsdale had the ball. I mean, he takes his time. He's got to pick his pass, but Bernardo Silva making himself pain, I think. And then, they had their penalty incident, which is the catalyst for the huge swing in the game. And I do think it was penalty. I think once again it was soft. Bernardo Silva appeared as though he was looking for it. I think if you watch the angle from behind, his left foot seems to catch his right foot. Seems to heel. Seems to catch his left heel. Seems to catch his right ankle. Or anyway, but that's following Xhaka doing the cross-legged defending manoeuvre that's so effective nowadays. I'm joking. And then pulls his shirt as he's going down. I don't think the pull on the shirt is material to the incident. I think it is more Xhaka dangling the leg out, and I do think there's a small amount of contact there. And then he's very much at that point looking for it. Gabriel was covering. I don't think he needed to have defended that way. Xhaka's very rash anyway at times, and he had parts of playing well today and parts of playing stupidly. And unfortunately, the ratios are too off that I just honestly don't think we can pick him. He certainly shouldn't be wearing the captain's armband. I'm not going to say any more about Xhaka, but that's how I feel about him. I think his time has come where we need to find someone who's a bit more reliable. And on that, Thomas Partey played really well today. It was not a 4 out of 10, it's more of an 8 out of 10 from him. He did a lot of really good stuff with the ball, won the ball loads, and majority of his passes were really good. So I was impressed with that from him today. I thought that's positive going forward. It's the first time I've really seen him play like that. So if he can carry on doing that, brilliant. Hopefully it's not a one-off just because we're playing Manchester City. But in any case, yeah, you've got to take the positives where we can. And then Gabriel getting booked for dissent. I think as much as Gabriel needs to be a bit more mature about these incidents happening, I think as well the referee does. You've got to appreciate the fact that because he may well. I'm hoping he sort of saw Odegaard's decision at halftime. Maybe he didn't. But if you've had a decision that you've made on the pitch, it then gets overturned by VAR and you get shown it, and players are rightly upset about that. I think any sort of overturning decision, players are going to be upset. To book them for that, and then to, as much as it was a yellow card, the foul. I mean, I think you've got to have a bit more intelligence to say for me, it more should have been to Gabriel. Look, that's your last one. If you weren't booked, that would be a booking, and we see that quite a lot in football. Players not being given that final yellow because that means the second yellow because that means they're going off. So I think it's a bit harsh. Gabriel, obviously, he's a very passionate lad. Bit too much today, unfortunately, and yeah, I feel a bit sorry for him because I think there is some argument over the penalty, even though I think it was one, despite soft, and the foul was a bit silly, really, but not anything that we don't see players do on the halfway line, Anyway, so that was really the catalyst that then changed the game. Although obviously I've got to talk about Martinelli's miss. I really like Martinelli, and today no different. In fact, he's probably gone up in my estimations. What I didn't notice until I watched back on the chance where he hit the outside of the post is that Stuart Atwell is actually in front of Martinelli as he's coming into the box. So Martinelli has to come round Stuart Atwell. I don't know what Stuart Atwell is doing there at that point. He doesn't need to see the ball go over the line if it is going to go over the line, because he's going to get a flag on his watch. He can stay away from that situation as it develops. So that was pretty poor positioning from him. And then Mane should still score. He's got, he's a good enough footballer to be able to put that away. Admittedly, a more difficult chance than I think it can appear at first glance without watching zoomed out where Stuart Atwell is. But look, I'm not gonna. It wouldn't have mattered who it was, and with that particular chance, it's just one of those. I expected it to go in, but it can happen. Unfortunately, it's happened when we're playing Manchester City and not when we've been 3 or 4-0 up, as we have been in some other games. But it's a shame. Martinelli will get over it, I'm sure, because he was phenomenal today. He gave Cancelo absolute torrid time on one wing, and Saka gave Ake a torrid time on the other. So fair play to them. I can't be upset with the performance overall. Obviously, the chance was a difficult one. More difficult than it perhaps should have been. So, yeah, and then defended really well, actually, after that. Very few chances for Arsenal. Obviously, going down to 10 men against City is always going to be difficult. It felt like we were down to 10 men for ages. It certainly dragged. Not as much as sitting through the 5-0, obviously. And we're a lot more disciplined today with it. You always knew City would score, and it was a very scrappy kind of goal. Ben White, Rob Holding very close to it. Maybe a bit harsh for me. Maybe Ramsdale could have done a little bit better. He was maybe slightly, although I guess he'd have to be more over towards his near side, wouldn't he? But yeah, I don't know. It was just one of those. It dropped right, got a toe poke in, and then Rodri, who already should have been on a yellow card, then decides to run over to the Arsenal fans and take his shirt off and scream at them, and then aggravated the crowd. I've seen something similar with a player running up in a Manchester City shirt in front of the Arsenal fans. I think he got a 3 or a 5 match ban for it. Anyway, not saying that should happen to Rodri. From what I gather, he's a very nice man. But yeah, certainly not saying that incident itself should have been a red card, but the fact he should have already been booked for the challenges beforehand. And it's academic, obviously, but I think the point is that there was a lack of consistency in refereeing decisions today. And it certainly went one way rather than the other. But that's no excuse. You still have to be good enough over the 90 minutes to get a point or get the 3 points. And unfortunately, just that one slight moment of lack of concentration. Other than that, I can't fault the team, and I won't fault the team. I'm very proud of them. From where we came at the start of the season, I thought it was going to be a tough old slog of a season. No, I thought we were going to get relegated. I thought we'd probably be about 10th by now. And from that performance, obviously we've got some big matches coming up. Tottenham being the next Premier League match, but at the minute we're worthy of the 4th place. So, and probably the best out of the teams going for 4th at the minute on current form and the way we're playing and the way the players are reacting as well. I watched a little bit of the Manchester City game the other day, and Ronaldo just constantly throwing his toys out the pram, even though Manchester United are winning. It's I mean, that is petulance. Obviously, it's not bookable or red cardable, but as a manager, Ralph's got a lot to deal with, and I don't really want to harp on Ronaldo, but I just mean we obviously lost against Manchester United when I thought we did play well enough to win that particular game. But I mean, I think they're like the biggest challengers for 4th. Tottenham been winning on quantity still, so we'll see how that match goes. But you never know. It's at White Hart Lane. Is it still called White Hart Lane? It's at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium anyway, and we'll see. We might end up losing that, but as long as we continue playing the same way, I think it'll be a favourable result. So yeah, I guess. Lastly, I think probably the FA Premier League could do with looking at that refereeing performance. I know obviously the referees do get scrutinised over certain aspects of their job, and like no other, but there was a lot of stuff today that wasn't consistent within the game. There was, like I say, Stuart Atwell running in front of mine. Bad positioning. I'm not going to say it was malicious because I don't believe it was. But yeah, certainly being in the wrong position within the box when that situation was developing. And then, the lack of consistency in terms of, I mean, I'm fine for the referee to review stuff on the pitch if it's not always going to be, it's going to be overturned. If it's VAR saying, I think you might miss something here, the referee goes and looks at it and goes, for example, with Bernardo Silva, I think he's clipped himself and he looks like he's going over already. And that doesn't change my mind as to what I've seen on the pitch. Whereas with Odegaard's, you saw it from this angle, but actually when you look at it from that angle, you can tell that Ederson's come through Odegaard before he gets the ball. So from the referee's angle, that's disguised from him. He sees the ball come off at a different angle, looking like the goalkeeper's got it. If VAR shows him the other angle, he can then look at that and say, okay, that's an angle I didn't see. And parts of it that I didn't see that I can now make another decision or, compare it to my initial decision and then decide what we're going to do. But at the minute, VAR has a lot of power. I know they've tried to rein that back a bit, but it needs to come back another stage as well. Particularly with incidents like that, consistency needs to be there, and I don't think that's something many people would disagree with. Obviously, people might disagree with VAR on principle, which is fine. I understand. I feel the same sometimes, but yeah, tough one, but proud. The first half was really, really, really good. Guys were full of running and didn't really give up on anything. And won probably the slight majority of the 50-50s as well, it felt like. But I don't know if Manchester City were off it, but towards the end, it looks like they ran out of ideas. They got a get-out-of-jail-free card with the goal, with with it, with just flicking it behind over the back and then it falling nicely for Rodri. So on another day, even though we're down to 10 men, that's possibly a draw, which would have been obviously incredible. So yeah, a mixture of disheartened and pleased with a lot of what I've seen. It all depends now how that is then used going forward, and I think the players could do well to chalk that one off. I think, and I guess that's the last thing I've got to say is I was very happy with the fans as well, seeing the pictures after full time, and the stadium still looks mostly full. From Arsenal fans, you can still hear them singing. I won't parrot some of the stuff that was said by the Arsenal fans, but yeah, it was good to see that the efforts were appreciated, and it's no real shame. To me anyway, it's no real shame losing to Manchester City, who's probably one of the best teams, one of the best managers in the world. Although, having said that, for me, I'm happy with the Arsenal team. I think I've definitely felt really sort of disconnected from them, particularly during the Unai Emery era. I think having like young players that have come through the academy and are sort of like really passionate about the game and about Arsenal makes a difference. I think having people like Tierney in all his interviews, he's obviously a Celtic boy, but he loves being at Arsenal. You can tell. Saka, Smith Rowe, from the academy. It'd be nice to see Maitland-Niles in there a bit more. Personally, I don't know if that's like a selfish thing or not. And then Odegaard obviously was on loan last season. Came when he was a very, very young kid. When he was deciding where in Europe he wanted to go. And I do genuinely believe him when he says that he, it was obviously a consideration, but Real Madrid and the like are big lures. So I think there's a lot more of a togetherness and a actual desire to play for the club. And I felt like, in Unai Emery's time, that just wasn't the case. Ramsdale as well, obviously big character. Unfortunately, he had the only two shots that I think it was the only two shots were on target today, and they both went in. But yeah, can't blame him. Obviously, no fault for the penalty. You always expect Mahrez to score, and in the second one, defenders were so close to it. I think, if I'm being harsh, I probably expect a little bit better from Ramsdale, but whether I expect him to keep it out or not is academic and probably unlikely. Maybe I got a fingertip to it, even if it still goes in. But yeah, that's been my very long rant, taking up nearly 20 minutes. Never mind. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I guess it's a bit somber now, but yeah, I don't know. Watch highlights if you want. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you all next time. Hopefully I don't do more of these videos because yeah, I don't know, I just felt really strongly about it. So there you go. Right, bye for now. Oh, Happy New Year, I should say, and bye for now.